Welcome back, LEGO builders and Minecrafters. Gigahertz Productions here, and this is episode 2 of building Mumbo's base out of LEGO. And if you haven't seen episode 1, go check that out on my channel. So in the last episode, we built out this Octagon, and we definitely need to do a little bit of upgrading to it in this episode, and hopefully my Bricklink order will arrive in time for this episode. And I want to start off this episode by saying thank you for the great support that you guys gave me on the previous episode, and so thank you for all of that support. With that aside, let's jump into some designing. So between episodes, I have been designing the wrench things for Mumbo'sBase, and this quick time-lapse here was taken on Studio, so it's like a LEGO CAD where you can build up things without having to use any pieces. And as you can see in the time-lapse, there was a lot of decision-making and going back and forth in between ideas to come out with the best design. Now, if you guys think there's any better way to make this, make sure you comment down below so I can see that feedback and hopefully make this the best mock possible. And in the previous episode, I completely forgot to mention about when these episodes will be coming out, and I hope for them to be coming out about every week, so probably about 7 to 10 days. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that quick little time-lapse there to show kind of the design process, but now let's jump into some actual building. Okay, so I've gone ahead and taken the design from on the Studio, and I have built it out into LEGO here, and this definitely took a while to design, but it certainly looks like one of the wrenches from Mumbo'sBase. So I used a couple of these hinge pieces along the edges here to get the correct angles, and then I just used bricks and those slope pieces, or the inverted slope pieces along here. And it's a pretty good design. There are a couple of mini cracks in here, but they are small enough to be passable. Now, if we take a quick look at the picture, you can see that I am missing the bar that goes across right here. And I mean, I could put it in, but that'd be quite difficult, and I think it looks fine without, and so we will be leaving that out. So this is the bottom bit of the wrenches done. And now over at the Octagon, if I put this wrench right beside it, so I will put in the wrench right beside it and it will attach in like right there. So it is a little bit bigger, the wrench, compared to the Octagon than it's supposed to be. But I think it looks fine, and it's going to look absolutely amazing when all 8 or 7 are in there. Oh, and you might have seen that I used studs on the bottom part here. I think I'm going to use studs like facing outwards all along the front part of the wrench, and then put in like some of those tiles along the front just to give it a little bit more texture, and so it looks a little bit interesting, rather than just this flat all the way around. So let me know what you think of this design. And now I might do a little bit more with this wrench, but I think we'll move on to the Octagon now. So let's go ahead and jump into the second time-lapse this episode. Let's go! And before we start the groovy time-lapse music, I completely forgot to mention this in the previous video in episode 1, and that I am going to be entering this mock into a LEGO competition in January. So hopefully with this mock we can win at least second, or hopefully first place. And this is just a small LEGO building competition, like it's just held with my community, but it is still fun nonetheless, and I'm not 100% sure if it's still gonna happen because of, you know, virus stuff, but let's hope it does happen, and let's hope this mock will win us at least close to first place. Now into that groovy time-lapse music. Alrighty then. So I did a little bit of building and we got kind of the base for those 4 sides here. And my math is a little bit wrong, so in the next episode we're going to have to change these out because right now there are some detached parts here. So I just have to make these plates a little smaller. And don't, or at least try not to mind the colorful rainbow. That's like the base, so soon it's all going to be green on top and look real pretty. And I went ahead and built a little bit of the green section here. And this is like the corner section or the weird like 45-degree angle. So that's like the tricky section. And I even started building up a second part. But then I decided to not to. Just to make sure everything matched up. And it's a good thing I stopped because everything does not match up. So we probably have to do a little bit of remodeling, but sadly that will have to wait for the next episode. And at the beginning of the time-lapse, I even built up a little bit more of the wrench. And most of the work that I did today is actually off camera, so I'll show you that in a little bit. And now, with this, I have made a couple of decisions. So around this part of the octagon, so there's a little space in between where it's going to be blue and water, I am not going to have the pieces like attached to the bricks because I've just been running into a whole bunch of problems with like these corners and how to line it up so it actually looks good. So instead, I'm just going to put in all the pieces loosely and like just a whole bunch of them so it's kind of like loose water. And I'll probably show you that in the next episode, but then for the rest of the building, I'll just take all those loose pieces out because otherwise it'll be a real hassle. And sadly, the pieces that I ordered from Bricklink are not going to arrive in time because they haven't arrived yet. So hopefully they will arrive in time for episode 3, but sadly they did not arrive in time. Oh yeah, and you might have seen that I kind of laid out a little bit of a pattern here. So this pattern kind of signifies where Mumbo's base is going to be. So like this cross in the middle is obviously where the center is going to be and probably around where the portal is. So right around here, but obviously we've got to build it up a little bit on a hill. But these gray lines here, they're going to be like those archway entrances that you see on Mumbo's base. So if we look at the picture, they'll be like the middle part there. And now, if we look at these gaps in between, those are where those big, like, structure supports are going to be. And they're going to be about the same size as the wrenches. So, as you can see, this, at least part of a wrench, fits nicely in there. So they're going to be about that big, and they are at a funky angle again. So they'll sit in like that, and then there'll be 4 of them all going up. So a mediocrely productive episode. We got a little bit of deciding done, got some green stuff in, some structure, and like a third to half of the wrench done. But now I gotta show you the stuff I did off camera. Here it is. We have finished the design, at least, for Mumbo's wrenches. And this thing looks absolutely amazing. And I can't wait to see it in Lego form. So this took quite a long time. This was like 5 or 6 hours of CADing, and the design came out pretty well. You can see there's like a couple of little gaps here, but overall, everything kind of fit together really, really nicely to create this overall quite nice looking build. And I mean, it is undoubtedly Mumbo's wrench. And see, so we got the studs out front to give it a little more texture, and I think that does look quite good. The only thing now is that I am going to definitely have to order more pieces, because just this one thing here says that it's 552 total parts. So each of these are pretty big. So this is what I've been up to off camera, and so hopefully in like a couple episodes, so probably like episode 5 or 6, we can maybe even get these wrenches done. Okay, maybe not all of them, but... And look, we even have the bar across the middle here that only took Mumbo 5 or 4 minutes to make. So, quite a amazing design. Tell me what you think of it in the comments down below. But now, sadly, we have reached the end of the episode. But in the next episode, we should hopefully get all the parts that we need to finish the octagon. and maybe even do a little bit more building on the inside. And we'll be able to finish Octagon with our bricklink order that hopefully comes. I mean, it should come for the next episode. Now, if you are enjoying this series, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to catch more of these episodes in the future. But with that said, Gigahertz Productions, out.